Good morning. Look at me. I think I'm actually like even a minute early today. Just trying to get my little paper for all of you in case you don't know. It's cards and coffee time. Every Wednesday at noon, I hop on here with you to make a quick card in 15 minutes or less over your lunch break. If you are new here, welcome. Hello. You have found Sarah Lynn Duque, better known as Sarah Lynn Stamps on all social media channels. And I thank you so much for joining me. As you come on, whether you're on live or you're on the replay, make sure you introduce yourself and say hello so I know that you were here and you were watched. And if you know someone else who might love this video or might enjoy this card design, be sure to share this video with your friends and family. There's no better compliment than for you to share these ideas with those around you. Today, we are taking cards and coffee back a little bit. I have done in the past quite a few cards with this stamp set, but I've been sort of heading off to fall. But I have figured out how to make color and contour into a fall-ish card. So I know as we get into fall, some of our flowers kind of disappear and things don't look quite the same, but we do have flowers available to us in the fall as well. And I mean, really, you can buy them at the store any time of year, and they're always popular. So we are going to make sure that we get good use out of our stamp sets all year long. So I'm using the Color and Contour bundle. This comes with the Color and Contour stamp set, of course, as well as the scallop contour dies. Now, you don't need the dies to complete this card. I'll tell you how you can make it without, but I have used these dies to punch out this beautiful scalloped border for one of the pieces of our card. And I love the dies in this set. Actually, I think the dies are my favorite part of this bundle. They have these beautiful bordered scallop piece here, and then a whole bunch of different frame pieces that you die cut out. And actually, it doesn't cut out the middle part. It just cuts out around the edges so that you end up with a nice scalloped layer. And all of these pieces will layer on top of each other. Additionally, you've got a few different pieces here you can use for sentiments that fit with the sentiments in the set, as well as with a lot of other sets as well that you can use these for. You can use this for scrapbooking to cut out pictures or to layer pictures on if you don't want to cut into your pictures with the dies. It just so many applications for this die set and for this stamp set. And then of course you've got the two flowers that are in this set that you can cut out as well with your die set. So if you want to know more about that, just give me a holler and we can talk about the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and how these die cuts work. But, oh, we don't want to lose any dies. Let's put this back in the box. But today, we are going to pull this out and make a really fast and gorgeous fall card today. So I have my Stampin' Pierce mat. Now this is just $7 in our catalog, but really is an indispensable supply when you are using photopolymer stamps. Now let me show you again what I mean. Photopolymer stamps are clear, so you can see through them, so you know exactly where you're stamping. They work really well for stamp sets like this that are called two-step stamp sets, where we've got a background colored stamp and we've got the top detailed stamp. So they work really well because then you can put these on top of each other and see where you're putting them. So they work really great. They just mount to a regular clear block like our other stamps do. But because they don't have any regular sort of rubber cushioning on them, it really does make a difference if you stamp on top of some type of stamping pad. So if you don't have a Stampin' Pierce mat, you could also use your pad or your mat out of your Stampin', what is that called? Stamparatus, out of the Stamparatus, which is our stamp positioning tool and comes with a pad. Or you can also just take a stack of paper or your catalog and use something like that as well in a pinch. But this is really affordable at just $7 and really makes a huge difference with your stamping. But I don't want to get any ink on here, so I'm also going to just take a piece of grid paper from the Binny grid paper. It's just sort of cuts our large sheets into quarters here. And so I'm going to grab one of those for stamping today. So today all that we need are a card base. I have one card base of basic white. This is thick cardstock, so it's going to give us a nice strong base for our card. And it measures the standard size for cards, so 8.5 by 5.5. Okay, so we've got one of those. I have a piece of cherry cobbler cardstock, and this measures 2.5 by 4 3/4. Again, here's the piece of white. This is just basic white cardstock that I punched out with that scallop die. And if you can see that, it's punched out the scallop. It's also given us a really nice embossed border for the inside of our design. Really, really pretty, and makes such a difference with just these simple little edges on here. Now, if you don't have the dies, that's okay, or you don't have a Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine in a way to die cut that, no worries. You can just cut out a square or rectangle that's the same size, and that is 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. So just cut out a standard piece of white cardstock and your card is still going to look beautiful. So we have that. I also have a piece of designer series paper. Now the good news is this designer series paper is actually part of the Christmas paper that is in celebration right now. It is called Pretty something or other. Let me show it to you. It's on one of our first pages here. And it's called Peaceful Prints, not pretty, sorry, Peaceful Prints. And it coordinates with the reindeer, Peaceful Deer bundle. So the reindeer or deer, it comes with a punch and stamps and whatnot, but it coordinates with that. But you can use this designer series paper all year long, and that's what we're going to do today. We're not going to use it for Christmas. You'll see that one side of the paper is more festive. The other side of the paper are more basic patterns like check patterns, stripes, again, in holiday colors, but they can be used all year long. So we're going to use that. And again, you can get this paper for free with a $60 purchase today. So if you are interested in snagging that, you have until September 30th to go shopping and grab some of those freebies. All right, so we are going to use this side here, which is our checked side. And let's pull in our card base. I'm going to set this aside just for a minute because I want to fold my card base. So I just kind of line up the one side. I give it a very tentative fold, and then I bring in my bone folder and give it sort of a, make sure that I've got it exactly how I want it, and give it a nice crisp edge with my bone folder. This is going to make sure that your card lays nice and flat for shipping and also for stamping. So the bone folder makes a great addition to your stamp room. We are going to take this designer series paper as well as our cherry cobbler. Let's stick on the cherry cobbler first. So what you're going to do here is we're going to add some adhesive. Sorry, my husband just came home. Forget the ding. We're going to add some adhesive here. I've got my Stampin' Seal that I'm just adding to the back of the cherry cobbler. Now, if you have trouble with your Stampin' Seal kind of rolling forward, you can either use your finger just to feed it forward a little bit, or if you start where you ended into the sticky part, it's going to naturally pull your roll forward for you. And then you won't have that same problem. So I'm going to stick this onto the right-hand side of my card front, just sort of centered a little bit closer to the right than the top and the bottom. Something like that. I'm going to stick it on as straight as I can do. Okay, now I'm going to take this designer series paper that I have, and again, this measures 2 inches by 5 1/4. Is that right? 2 inches by 5 1/4, that's correct. I'm going to add some more Stampin' Seal, and this is going to go on the right-hand side, overlapping that cherry cobbler piece. So we're going to just center that on here, kind of trying to center it with the sides and the top even, and we're going to stick that on just like that. So this is our card base. I mean, these colors are just pretty all by themselves, but let's do some stamping. We are going to stamp on this scallop piece, and this card comes together really easily. And you can choose whichever colors you like. I have chosen some fall colors today, fallish colors, I guess. Calypso Coral, Cherry Cobbler, and Mango Melody. So I'm going to use those 3 colors to stamp my flowers today, which is why I chose one of those colors for my cardstock, the Cherry Cobbler. If you want to use different colors or have different colors on hand, just change up the color of the cardstock you use, and you're good to go. All right. So I will start, I'm going to start with the lightest one, and the reason is because I'm lazy and that I don't have to clean my my stamp every single time I change colors, because I'm going to be using the same stamp multiple times. So this is the solid background stamp for the flower. So we're looking at this one here. We're going to stamp our colored backgrounds first, and I'm going to just take Mango Melody and give it a little bit of a stamp here and stamp it right up here. A little bit off the top of the page, just something like that. Now, I won't be lazy, I guess. I'll pull out my cleaning pad. This is the what are these things called? Somebody put it in the comments, whatever this is called. It's like a little squeegee, and I love it because it fits into one of our regular size stamp cases for storage. You just rinse it out anytime that you want. It does get a little bit of stain, but this doesn't transfer to your hands or your stamps. But you can also pick it up. So if you've got stamps with little like pieces in there that you need to clean out, you can just pick it up and clean your stamp. And so it really is a great cleaning tool. All right, let's go to Calypso Coral here. We just kind of go tap, tap, tap on our Calypso Coral. And I am going to just put this over like this. And our last color is Cherry Cobbler. Kind of stamp this off a little bit here before I go to Cherry Cobbler, although it's a red and a red, so I'm not too worried about cleaning between. And then I'm going to stamp the Cherry Cobbler just off here to the left, like that. So we've got 3 different flowers, and again, you can change up the colors so that they coordinate with whatever designer series paper you have, or whichever cardstock you have on hand. I've chosen these 3 colors because, well, I love fall, as you all know, and the colors of fall. So I want to use that. Now I'm pulling out my Memento black ink. So this is just our basic everyday black ink for stamping. And I'm going to, these do not need to line up properly. So like, I mean, exactly is what I'm saying. You can try and line them up a little bit more accurately, but I'm really not worried about it. I might kind of just eyeball this, and there's one that sort of splits. I'm going to see if I can at least get that on the right side. There we go. And like that. Okay, so we've got our 3 flowers. We need to now, we're going to stamp our sentiment right onto this piece. I'm telling you, this is a really easy layout that you can replicate many, many times with many different stamp sets. And make stunning things every time. Now, one of the things I really love about this stamp set are the sentiments. They're not exactly straight. They have this really nice fluid font that's handwriting that's a little bit off kilter, that if you don't get it perfect on your stamp or on your project every time, it doesn't matter because the lines are not so precise. So I really, really love this font. Now we're going to put this on with dimensionals. And if you're not familiar with dimensionals, what those are just a foam adhesive. So it's sticky on 2 sides, but it has a little bit of foam. So what that does is it lifts that up off of your project, creates a little bit of definition, a little bit of interest to your project without a lot of work at all or a lot of expense. All right, so these are just the regular sized dimensionals. You can also get mini size for small, tiny little ones for little projects or little pieces that you want to lift up. So what I'm going to do is I'm only concerned really with centering this onto the Cherry Cobbler piece here. I want this to kind of be even. I'm not worried about centering it over top of this designer series paper like that. So there we have it. Can you believe it? That is our whole card. Like, this stamp set is amazing. It pulls together cards in moments, in seconds, and they always look stunning, especially when you pair them with the die sets. Now, if you wanted to, because you know I'm all about the bling, you could pull out the Wink of Stella and add some to the center of your flowers. You don't have to. I think this is a really beautiful fall card, just how it is. But that is also an option. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and do that because, you know. So all you do is you paint this on is all that you do. And actually, I'm just going to dab it. The reason is because you can actually watercolor with your Wink of Stella. So if you wanted to add color to your Wink of Stella and then paint it on, you can do that too. But because it has that liquid in there, it sometimes will cause your lines to blur. So I'm going to just dab it on there instead. And I don't know if you can see that in the camera or not, but now we've just got a really subtle glitter right to the center of our flowers. So take it or leave it. That's what you can do. But thank you guys for joining me today. This was just one of our really fun, fast lunchtime craft or cards that we can make together. I hope you're getting some time in your craft room to just relax and create, and have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon, and happy stamping, everyone. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate you all. Bye.